So we're talking about plants that the reason why their Anishinaabe name is special or is unique. Sometimes it's very easy. Like this one is Bloodroot, or we call it Mskwiiwjiibik. Miskwe is blood. Jiipkan is a root, so Mskwiiwjiibik is bloodroot. And bloodroot is Sanguinaria canadensis. And this is, it's a really amazing, really important medicine, like especially for women's health. This one is probably one of the plants that you have to be most cautious with in the Great Lakes for accessing its medicinal therapy or medicinal potential, because the active components, the chlorethrine, the sanguinarine, are alkaloids that are arterial sedatives, so they'll slow your heart. So obviously, if you have too much, your heart stops and you die. So we have to be careful in the way that we utilize this as medicine. One of the things that I'm becoming so attracted to now, though, about the bloodroot is how it's used in oral hygiene. So with oral hygiene, it's used to soften plaque or soften calcite. And so I've done experiments myself just with allowing calcite to accumulate, so the plaque to harden into the calcite, and then utilizing the mouthwash from bloodroot to be able to soften the calcite to just brush it off. And it's a really interesting feeling, contrasting that experience with, just the metal scrapings tools, really blunt tools that are used at the dentist. And then even with the contraindications and the cautions around utilizing bloodroot as a medicinal species, it's starting to become a lot more common to see like oral hygiene products utilizing bloodroot at health food stores and things like that. So if you're looking at the active ingredients in certain mouthwashes, you might be able to see especially the Latin name Sanguinarine or Sanguinaria, to identify that this product was made with bloodroot, which is pretty interesting. Those contraindications will be indicated on the bottle as well to say, better watch. But yeah, this one sometimes it's very simple. Bloodroot, one of the things that makes it unique, obviously the leaf shape is pretty incredible. The flower is all distinct. But one of the things that's really special, I think, about the bloodroot is, well, the root. When you crack the root, a bunch of red juice is going to come out, and that red juice looks just like blood. Yeah, well, I mean, that's something that there's another plant, New Jersey tea. New Jersey tea is like a type of shrub, and that plant, we call it Mskwiiwjiibik. So Kwan is a liver, and Jiipkan is a root. So Mskwiiwjiibik is liver root, and the New Jersey tea roots don't bleed when they're cut, so there's no blood. But that one would be the closest to really really. I don't know how to say, really vibrant red roots that are out there. But that one looks just like a liver, like liver red and liver smooth. It's so eerie to kind of see. The Mskwiiwjiibik, I can't wait to share the linguistic significance of that. But yeah, this one, bloodroot, is just bloodroot because of the red juices that come out of it. Okay, yeah. So when you first are holding the bloodroot and you crack it, a bunch of red juice doesn't just indiscriminately come out anywhere. It only comes out at the perimeter of the plant, and so there will be this little red ring, and I guess that's what I was showing in these images here. As you could see, just the juice first comes out on the outside first, and then it slowly comes out through this fleshy inside, and then eventually it just all turns into a big red mass. And that red juice actually is what contains most of the alkaloid content of this plant, is inside of that latexy juice that comes out. And it's that juice that is absorbed through the surface of your skin, or it's absorbed transdermally. And its actions to slow and ultimately even stop your heart begin there. There was a toothpaste company that killed a whole bunch of slaves that were working fields full of bloodroot, and without gloves. And by noon, everybody was dead in the field. because they were picking a bunch of these roots. The red juice gets in their hands, and that's enough to have the sedative effect on the heart to eventually stop it. And then, wiping that juice on your head, there's a special area of skin around your temples that is more adept to absorbing these kinds of alkaloids. And so this was, the Anishinaabe sort of war paint that we would use to rub on our heads, because that will eventually kill us. We have 25 minutes, 45 minutes of life left, and that alkaloid is going to sink in and it's going to stop our heart. So when we utilize that paint, we're going to die. And it was being such a scary thing for an opponent to be able to see, is warriors that they're not just prepared to die, they are basically already dead. And so that was really alarming and really scary to see red paint, war paint, being used on our faces. And so you can see the memorialization of that in powwows and things like that, with warrior dancers having red paint on their face. That's what we're remembering. And when your heart is slowing down during intense exercise, like a war, you get, it's referred to as an alarming prostration of strength. And it's this subconscious block that is applied to skeletal muscle tissue. So your brain controls how much of your muscles that you're able to use. Because if your brain granted access to all of your muscular potential, you'd be able to break your own bones with your own muscles. So your brain controls that. It applies a subconscious block to limiting your exertion in your opportunity to utilize muscles. So chimps don't have this subconscious block, and they're very well known for breaking limbs just because of their muscular potential is just enough to break their own limbs. And then there was even stories of Vikings as well. Vikings going into war were, were known to be utilizing berserk. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so cool. Yeah, berserk. So you go berserk. So that's what the Vikings would there's mushrooms that we call berserkers, because when you eat them and then you catch the pee and then you drink the pee, sorry if you're eating lunch, but you drink the pee, that removes the subconscious block that you have controlling your muscles. And so Vikings were known for being just unimaginably strong. And they would be so strong that you could break your own bones. And so that was one of the cautions when utilizing these berserker mushrooms, is that you really have to be careful because you could just stand and flex and snap bones. So it's like really cool. That happens when you're in a state of intense physical exercise and your heart begins to slow down. You get that same subconscious block removal. And so while so in a war situation, you have somebody who is fully committed, they're going to die anyways. So that's very scary to see. It's also very scary to know the prostration of strength involved in the removal of that subconscious block. Like, what are these people going to be capable of? And that being sort of a frontline tactic to be able to scare off any enemies, and so to not have a full-blown war, maybe just the opportunity to be able to scare them away, few casualties, and we should be good. And so that's what Woodlands people were very well known for, I guess, is utilizing this bloodroot and processing it in massive quantities. But to know that this plant's identity in that bloodroot, and then war paint stories, and the way that this plant has affected history, all of that being embedded into the identity of the name of the plant, Mskwiiwjiibik, or bloodroot, and knowing what those roots have been utilized for. It's also a really good point to gesture to caution. With medicine, it takes so much to learn, so much time and energy into dedication, mainly into positively identifying a plant. And so Yeah, it's nice to utilize this one as kind of like a teacher to say, well, we could learn about medicine, but it can be scary. So we have to be careful with everything. And that constant consultation with experts is something that is necessary. I always tell everybody when we're learning about medicine, like I had my grandma, so very, very privileged of me to be able to have my grandma to confirm absolutely everything that we picked, and she confirmed it with every sense that she had, from the way that it sounds to the way that it feels to the way that it smells and tastes and looks. She was able to connect all of her senses to memories and experiences that she had where that was the plant that was used. And so there was a confirmation there that I had. And so that needs to be sought out. And when we're looking to understand plants as medicine, that needs to be very well understood. That is one of the most important steps, which is really limiting, I know, but important. So yeah, bloodroot or Mskwiiwjiibik. But yeah, Mskwiiwjiibik or bloodroot, Sanguinaria canadensis. This plant has a lot to teach us about the importance of learning and understanding the Anishinaabe names of plants, and how important that is, and how how do I say, like, kind of we are engaging in like a scientific or taxonomic process, not to challenge existing taxonomic processes, but just to consider not validity, but importance of indigenous taxonomy of plants. Yeah, I guess. Chumigach, Bauma.